Hello YouTube, Robert Alvarez the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting and a Fan. Today's a beautiful day. Today is Saturday, September 21st, 2019, and the time is approximately 9:21 p.m. The sun is in Virgo, but soon it'll be in Libra, and the moon is waning in Cancer. I would like to first acknowledge my two newest YouTube channel subscribers. They are Silvino Nix, and I love that he spells Nyx like the Greek goddess of night, and Lucky Leo 4, capital L-U-C-K-Y, capital L-E-O, and the number 4. So Silvino Nix and Lucky Leo 4, welcome to the YouTube channel of yours truly, Robert Alvarez the Psychic Witch. For those of you who have recently subscribed to my YouTube channel, I only acknowledge those subscribers who have publicly I'm saying that incorrectly. I apologize. Let me try this again. Take two. I know that some of you have told me you've subscribed, but I usually don't acknowledge subscribers unless I receive a notification stating this person has subscribed to your YouTube channel. I had the honor and pleasure of finally returning to one of Wizard's Tower's live streaming videos on his YouTube channel, which is lovely and wonderful, by the way. And I recently, and one of the other people on the live chat told me she subscribed to my YouTube channel, but I haven't received a notification yet. And I don't feel comfortable publicly acknowledging somebody who has not indicated that they want to be publicly acknowledged. And I am aware that I have subscribers that are not publicly acknowledged, which is why nobody knows who they are. And I want to maintain that confidentiality and privacy if I can. So, with that being said, I did want to acknowledge Silvino Nix and Lucky Leo 4. And I felt led to do just a recap of my events this month. So first and foremost, now I'm going to tell all of you something that I did not want to share publicly previously. As most of you know, with all of my events, whether they're in person, well actually all of my events are in person and online now. That's why they're called simulcast events. With all my events, it feels so good to dress casually, let me tell you. With all my events, I need to have a minimum of 6 participants. It used to be 5, but it went up to 6 this year. And because I really feel that that's a reasonable expectation. I mean, how many bazillion people are on the planet now? Like 4 billion, 5 billion? How many places have internet access? How many people are interested in the metaphysical, magical, and mystical? So, requiring a minimum of 6 participants for any and all of my events really is not unreasonable. And I know that I say that, I've said that often, but nobody's going to convince me that I'm being unreasonable. Now if I require that all 6 participants pay, with crystals, ice crystals from the rings of Saturn, then it's like, okay, Robert, you need to calm the fuck down. That's a different story. But, 6 participants is not a stretch. So, but here's the thing. I knew instinctively that for my great goddess circles, I needed to be okay with having a minimum of whatever the minimum was. Now, I will tell you that if there had been nobody, that would have been an issue with me. But here's the irony. So, I have often raved about my awesome audiovisual person. And I often refer to him as not only my awesome audiovisual person, but my amazing computer tech person, because he is both. Well, recently we had some technical difficulties, which is why, but they're gone now, by the way, which is why some of my videos were uploaded as is. I am now very, very happy to say that my videos are going to resume being the way they were, and maybe even with some improvements that I don't know about yet, but we'll see. So, bizarrely enough, my awesome audiovisual person forgot a key component of what I needed to be able to stream the Great Goddess Circle live and online. And, well, let's just say that I was shocked. I was angry. I was amazed. I was outraged. And it gave me an opportunity to make a joke at his expense, which I never thought I would make. And I'm not going to mention names because that would be unkind to that person. But it's not the name of my awesome audiovisual person, it's somebody else. But let's just say that I would expect that person, who is somebody that both my awesome audiovisual person and I know, to make that kind of a mistake. But for my awesome audiovisual person to make that mistake, either he had to be invaded by a pod person, or a pod alien, or we are in a bizarro multiverse. So it shocked me. I did get over it. It just took a day or two, but I did get over it. But, two things. Number one, everybody who was registered for that divine debut of the Great God of Circles has been automatically transferred to the next one. So they received a money miracle and a prosperity gift just by having registered for the very first one, which makes them happy, makes me happy. That's number one. And number two, they also received an additional Goddess Grace Gratitude gift. Now, I want to tell you something. With regards to the 3 participants, well, I'm not including my awesome audiovisual person because he was going to be there regardless. Although I do consider him a participant because he's there. With regards to the 3 paid registered participants, of the 3 of them, 1 lives in a different state on the West Coast of the United States. 1 lives in New York City. 1 works in New York City. All of them were going to participate via the live online streaming video. So if you thought that you had an excuse by living in another state, or living in another country, or living in another continent, and that's where you can't participate, I'm so sorry, you do not have that excuse anymore. You did, and now you don't. And I cannot help but find it fascinating and amusing. I mean, this is the second simulcast event in which one could participate in person or online. And the vast majority of the people that I would expect to participate in person are the ones that either live and or work in the New York City area, and more than half of them are participating online. I find it fascinating, I find it amusing. I don't find it frustrating and I don't find it annoying. But in my mind it's like, well, wouldn't it make more sense that the people who live and work in the area or relatively close to the area would be participating in person? But I guess not. So again, if you thought that you living in a different state, you're living in a different country, different time zone, different continent, that's your excuse? No. I'm so sorry. Not an excuse anymore. And I'm going to have a sip of my coffee. Let me tell you about this coffee before I continue. So, 2 of my new favorite coffees are Folgers Noir. Noir is the French word for black. So, Smoky Midnight. And Golden Dusk. They're all dark roasts, by the way. So, they have 2 others. One, it has a red label, and it's called Rich Satin. And the other one has a blue label, like a royal blue, that's called True Dark. I haven't gotten those yet. So I added, now, just so you know, the coffee at Chez Robert is the shit, okay? So, I also added some espresso. And I think, I don't remember if it's Bilon or if it's El Dorado. I want to say it's El Dorado. Although I'm long overdue to buy another container of El Coqui, which is the Puerto Rican espresso. And I'm so long overdue to buy Lavazza, which is Italian. But I added some, I'm going to say I added El Dorado. So I added some El Dorado in between the Smoky Midnight and the Golden Dusk. And then I added a combination of evaporated milk, light cream, heavy cream, and this amazing dairy creamer by Bailey's, Mocha Mudslide. Now, I actually have never had a Mocha Mudslide, so I had to ask my awesome audiovisual person who drinks more alcohol than I do, what is the primary ingredient. He said Kahlua. I haven't had a White Russian in ages. And honey, I live for those White Russians. All that cream. So yes. Oh, then what I did was I took a hand mixer and I whipped up that dairy concoction. And I added a combination of light brown sugar and golden granulated sugar. And that is how we do coffee à Robert. Holla. Okay, so in the meantime, I want to thank those of you who did participate in the divine debut of the Great Goddess Circles. I want to apologize to you for the inconvenience that I was not able to do the live online streaming video. However, the next one is going to be on Monday, October 7th, 2019, from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And my awesome audiovisual person has reassured me ad infinitum, because unfortunately I felt the need to ask him ad infinitum, that what happened exactly, almost 2 weeks ago, it's before midnight, so 1 week and 5 days ago is not going to ever happen again. And he has reassured me every single time. Even to the point that he wants to scream because I'm asking him yet again. The topic is going to be different. In fact, it's so funny because one of the registered participants also told me that, well, I'm getting off topic, I apologize. I do want to thank you for sharing and for spreading the word. I actually did not know until this last minute participant told me that there was a problem with the Eventbrite page. I had no clue. Nobody told me before her, and I must have created at least 3 or 4 different Eventbrite pages for 3 or 4 different events. I had no idea that nobody could register via my Eventbrite pages. And nobody told me. So if you knew about this and you didn't tell me, part of me wants to ask, well, why didn't you tell me? Because I didn't know. I would keep looking at the stats and I would see how many views and I would see 0 ticket sales, and I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense to me. Because people are interested. And nobody told me. So given that I anticipate being especially busy between now and February 2020, I'm putting Eventbrite pages on the back burner until I can actually sit down with my awesome audiovisual person and see if we can figure out what the problem was. And I have reached out to Eventbrite. I didn't fully understand what they wrote, and that's not their fault. I think it's my fault, or I think it's just I wasn't understanding it, because I think it was because the last minute participant was having difficulty registering and I was trying to find out as much as possible in a very short period of time. So I don't know. So for right now, I'm going to go back to using my paypal.com link or my paypal.me link because it works and I don't have an issue with it. And people who have readings with me via Catland, either in person, by phone, or by Skype, use my paypal.me link and they have no problem. So I'm going to go back to doing that. I am going to need to revise those blog posts that have Eventbrite pages, and I haven't done that yet. I know that I am going to be writing the official blog post for the Great Goddess Circle of October 2019. I will share what the topic is in that blog post and in the video that will accompany said blog post, and I will include the my paypal.me link. Now, I was especially deliciously, lusciously, lavishly, and lovingly happy to be back at Notions and Potions from Friday, September 13th through Sunday, September 15th, 2019. I cannot tell you how overjoyed, how happy, how fulfilled, how at peace, how wonderful, how wondrous I felt. It was wonderful to be back in Beacon, New York, or as I lovingly call it, freaking Beacon, baby. I was so happy to be back in the store. I was happy to see Cheryl, who is a living goddess who owns Notions and Potions. I was happy to see her right-hand goddess, Anne Marie, who I referred to incorrectly as Mary Ann. but it is Anne-Marie written as one word, and she corrected me, and she had every right to do so, and she still does. And I must tell you, I am so excited about the upcoming Psychic Fair next month. I will be writing a separate blog post for that. However, my dates for November and December of 2019 for giving readings at Notions and Potions have already been set. I've noticed that when it comes to giving readings at... Oh, hold on, I need to adjust myself. When I give readings at Notions and Potions, I take off January and August. I take off January because that's my birthday month, although I have no issue receiving extra money in January in spite of it being my birthday month, so I have more money to spend on my birthday. But it just works better for me to not give readings at Notions and Potions in January, which is the month of my birthday, as well as in August, which is when the sun, well, when August begins, the sun is in my rising sign Leo. So I just find it easier for me energetically and with my schedule to take January and August off from giving readings at Notions and Potions. Would I be willing to make an exception? Maybe. Not for a 20-minute reading, though. For an hour reading? Yes. For a half-hour reading? Maybe. For a 40-minute reading? Definitely. No, for an hour reading, definitely. For a 40-minute reading, probably. For a half-hour reading, possibly. For a 20-minute reading, definitely not. Okay, we got that covered. I cannot thank you enough. I was so happy with the number of readings I gave, and it was interesting. I'll save that for another video, because that's another video. But Friday the 13th and Saturday, September 14th, which was the date of the full moon in Pisces on the east coast of the United States, worked out beautifully. What are you doing, Isis? 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 What are you doing? This is what happens. But then again, it's okay. You know, I always ask if you want to be in the video, and you never say anything. Like you're not saying anything now. Okay. So thank you to those of you who did have a reading with me at Notions and Potions between Friday, September 13th and Sunday, September 15th, 2019. Thank you to those of you who spread the word. Of course, thank you so much to Homespun Foods for their delicious dirty chai latte and their runsas, which is one of my favorite breakfast foods to eat on a Saturday, as well as their Mount Beacon bar, which is so good. Oh, it's so good. And of course, I must thank Shirley Hott, the owner of the Pandorica restaurant, my favorite Whovian-themed paradise, for amazing food, amazing service, and just being so lovely and wonderful. And of course, I must absolutely thank once again BJ's Soul Food Restaurant. Now let me tell you something. I'm not a big fan of seafood, but honey, the fish and chips, goddess, I scarfed that down like I hadn't eaten in 3 days. Oh, and I want to tell you, there's this counter guy whose name I do not know. I remember I was looking at something in one of the counters, and I asked him, "What's that?" And he said, "It's the best thing in the world." I didn't know what it was, but I was like, "I'm buying that." It was banana pudding. He was right. It was the best. I still don't know how much it is. I took a photograph of the menu with my phone. I haven't looked at how much it is. But think about it. Somebody says to you, you ask somebody, "What's that?" And they say it's the best thing in the world. Okay, well, I'd be a fool not to buy that, right? Right. Anyway, so before I go, let me show you one of the books that I've been working with since preparing for the Great Goddess Circles. And I think I've shown it before. It's called Goddesses for Every Day, Exploring the Wisdom and Power of the Divine Feminine Around the World by Julie Lord. And I want to tell you, I'm really looking forward to working with this book next year. It's been a while since I've worked with a book as a daily, but there's chapters on all the different goddesses from a Western astrological perspective, and there is a goddess for every day of the year, including February 29th. And next year, 2020, is a leap year. So I will be working with Sedna on February 29th, or at least calling her by name. And there's Isis drinking water from the bowl. So that's my cue to cut this video, or rather to conclude this video. But YouTube, as always, thank you so much for honoring who I am and what I do. For those of you who have been thinking about availing yourselves of my psychic services, this is the time of the year when I book up super fast, and I've already scheduled appointments as far in advance as December. Technically, I have appointments scheduled as far in advance as February, but since I don't yet have a 2020 calendar yet, I'm not officially scheduled until February 2020 just yet. Technically, I am. So my recommendation to you is that if you want to schedule an appointment with me, if you want to avail yourselves of an intuitive card reading, if you want to avail yourselves of an in-person reading, a phone reading, a Skype reading, another one of my psychic services, the time to book is now. The time to ask the great goddess, or by whatever name you call her, him, them, it, etc., to provide you with everything you need. This is the time is now. And as I recently said on one of my Instagram posts, the money is coming, the money is here. And yes, that is a Mr. Prosperity approved expression. But YouTube, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you. May the great goddess bless you and yours with love and light, prosperity and peace. And good night.